During 1972 Summer Olympics, the ABC Sports broadcast team are alerted to a hostage situation taking place just a few hundred yards away, and over the next 22 hours, they choose to broadcast this situation for millions across the world to see. Film fans YouTube, hello and welcome back to the channel. I am Josh, your movie apprentice, and today I am looking at September 5th. Directed by Tim Fehlbaum and starring Peter Sarsgaard, John Magaro, Ben Chaplin, and Leonie Benesch. September 5th releases tomorrow, and this is a film that the highest praise I can give it is that it's a very authentic movie. Unlike a lot of true tellings of a story where everything is a dramatized recreation, whilst this one definitely has that element to it, this film heavily relies on the use of the actual news broadcast footage recorded that day. So when we are seeing Jim the news reporter, when we are seeing these masked individuals showing themselves on camera whilst the hostage situation is going on, these aren't actors, these aren't performers, this is all the actual footage of what was shown during that dark day, which adds a level of authenticity to the movie and a desire to tell the story as authentically as possible. And that for me is a big check mark when it comes to the film, because when we talk about stories of historical events, especially tragic events as well, there is that element of, are they making blood money of this? Is this a story that is being done justice? So making that effort to recreate what the broadcast studio would look like in the 70s and intercutting the acted action with the actual footage from that day really adds the authenticity to the movie. And this is a film that keeps you on the edge of the seat from start to finish. I myself was unaware of what happened this day. It's just one of those things that doesn't seem to get taught much, so I did not know where this was going to go. I did not know the outcome of the hostage situation, so for me this added a level of drama to it for me. I felt that's where the divide might come with audiences, because there will be people that no doubt remember this day or know about this day, or for them this day is an integral part of their heritage and their history, as the main conflict in this, the reason for the hostage taking, is something that is still prevalent today, which is over half a century later. Like, let that sink in for a moment. With this movie, go watch it if you have any interest in seeing it, regardless of what anyone tells you, because everyone's going to see this in a very unique way depending on their prior knowledge, connection and experience with this event. For me, I'm just a big sucker for movies that are about journalism and broadcasting. Before I really got into films, I wanted to make films. There was a small period of time where I wanted to be a journalist, and had I not seen a couple of absolute classics when I was 15, 16, that might have been the route I went in life. So seeing television broadcast journalism being depicted on film, that is just something that always checks a big box for me, so I'm very biased when it comes to this sort of depiction. The accuracy when it comes to depicting what goes on behind the scenes at these studios, like, it is as relevant today as it is back then. Seeing these individuals both having this determination to show this event to the world, because the world needs to see this stuff taking place, and opening their eyes to this, putting them at a ground level that can't be replicated from hearing about it many hours down the line. There's also no delusion or pretense that they are not also in this for the big scoop, the exclusivity. There are moments where they could have shared the feed and then they cut off from it, but they stick to their guns because they want their studio to have the story, and that is just true in all journalism. So I liked how it never tries to glamorize the way they did this. Now when we talk about the performances in this, everyone just really does a really good job in this. Peter Sarsgaard is really good. John Magaro is very much the one that has to carry this movie, and he does a solid job indeed. Leonie Benesch, she is almost the connection between the studio and the local German heritage, because they're the only one that can speak German. That is their character. They act as sort of a middle person in between the police and the studio. Even though they work for the studio, they're the one that manages to translate what is going on with the German forces. And I do love the way they set the scene. Like, it's hammered home constantly how close it was to the Holocaust and World War II. Like, this is in Germany, so there was this great tension of Germans being conscious of the fact that Jewish people are being held hostage at this Olympics, about reuniting and bringing the world together. They really hammer it home constantly whilst you're watching it, which can be a deterrent to some people because they do mention it a lot. It's like, we're in Germany, we don't want more Jewish people dying on our lands because they're trying to get away from that past, but it really opens a window into why certain mistakes and errors were made, and there is never a clear picture over whether the studio are actually doing good or bad by putting their cameras in these situations and showing it live. Like, it is a very good film of balancing it. This is just telling the story of the studio, nothing more, nothing less. There is no big speech from any characters in the studio. There are a couple of moments where they might throw their weight around in authority, like if the police try and break in, the head of the studio will come in and tell them to get the hell out. But there's no big speech about morals or the reasons they are doing this. There's just these little intimate discussions between characters before they go right back to the show. And it's just a very effective piece of filmmaking, though I will say it doesn't quite hit the heights that other journalistic biopic films have done in the past. It is very much a film that tells a gritty story depicting real events with a big flair for authenticity and telling the story as accurate as possible when it comes to the day. Imagine a studio today decide to make a film showing news broadcasters when 9/11 was happening and just what things were like from their level. That's like the equivalent I can think of when describing this movie, because there was no heroes in this. It's just people doing their job and letting all their thoughts, feelings, emotions, and outlooks, pushing them to the side in order to bring this story to the people of the world. And it's very effective. It's a very effective drama. I love the setting. I love anything to do with journalism in movies. I really enjoy those elements. The fact that I didn't know about this event prior to watching this, and the fact I didn't know how it ends, that added a level of tension for me that helped carry me through the movie. For those that are well versed in what happened that day, there will be less tension for you because you know how it ends. So it is very much a case of, whilst I will highly recommend this movie, it will be one that will be a mixed bag depending on your outlook going into it. Before I get into my grade, if you like seeing on the channel, click the like button and subscribe for more video reviews that's coming all the time. Without further ado, let's grade this. September 5th is a fantastic bit of filmmaking that is driven by authenticity. The performances are all solid. It never goes too Hollywood. Everything feels very natural and very real to the life of a TV studio and how they would adapt to this situation. And the use of real footage helps push this film beyond the accusations of being a pale reimagining or retelling of a tragic day in history. So with all that being wrapped up into a bow, I personally am going to have to say that for me, September 5th is a great cup of tea. So September 5th, have you seen it? If you have, let me know down in the comments below. Do you remember this event? Let me know if you do and what it was like living that day. How good does this film do at depicting those events? Or were they way off in their depictions of the events? Let me know. Coming up on the channel, got award season coming up, so awards content is coming up. Until next day, everybody, my name is Josh. I have been Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you all in the next video.